Coach, Ed had a couple really clutch plays, a big block at the end of regulation, offensive rebound and putback in overtime. Was this kind of the Ed Morrow that you were expecting to get when he transferred from Nebraska?
Ed was huge throughout the whole game, but especially down the stretch. 3 plays in particular, and he made more than 3 plays in this game, stand out to me. Number one, Hap had a point-blank layup, and Ed came out of nowhere and blocked it. And that was a huge play because that's going to be 2 points because Hap's too good. So great play. His offensive rebound putback, I mean, there was a scrum of 3 Wisconsin players, and the odds are that we're not going to end up with the ball. And Ed just somehow not only willed us to get the ball, but put it in the basket. That was a huge play. And then when we were missing free throws, Ed walked up there and hit 2. Ed continues to get better and better, and he's a really good player. And obviously his fingerprints were all over this win.
Coach, you went to the line 34 times tonight, 15 more times than any Wisconsin opponent has seen throughout the season. What do you attribute that to in terms of just aggressive play or what it may be?
Yeah, that's been one of the strengths of our team this year. We're not the same team we were in the last couple years. We're a team that plays through the paint. And when you play through the paint, you put teams in position to foul. And, this is not a random game. We've been really good at getting to the free throw line. And I credit my players for that, whether it's off the drive, off a post pass, off of offensive rebounding. We're a paint team. And as a result of being a paint team, you're going to shoot more free throws. And so, obviously, that's key. We're not the same offensive team that we've been. We're not nearly to this point as explosive, but we can be really effective just in a different way. And the different way is playing through the paint.
Coach, you're not the same defensive team either, I don't think, right? and just how can you explain the way you guys did today? Obviously, trying to show Hap some mixed looks, different looks, and then also getting to the three-point shooters. Sam said you made a little adjustment second half to get to the three-point shooters. You thought you did a better job in the second half.
Yeah, Ethan Hap is a handful. I mean, he's one of the truly great players in college basketball. And I hope fans of Wisconsin appreciate him because guys like that don't come around very often. Initially, we started the game trying to run 2 guys at him. And he is able to make passes out of the double team or before the double team even gets there, which is very difficult for a young post player to do. And they got some open looks as a result. In the second half, we didn't come with the double. And so we were able to stay connected to their shooters better. Our team competes on defense. They understand that we need defense in order to win until we get the offensive end figured out. And that's a fun thing to do. And we're a solid basketball team that has a chance to get a lot better. And we need to just continue to focus on the process of getting better and then eventually being the best we can be. Our guys have bought into it to this point, and we're fortunate that's been reflected in a couple really good wins against outstanding teams that are very well coached and that have a pride of a long-term program.
This is Steve. What is it like as a coach when you're up 4 in overtime and uncharacteristically your guys miss, I think, like 6 free throws in a row, but you find a way to win it? What is that like down the stretch?
Well, you'd like to make the free throws for sure. But our guys were exhausted. And there's pressure on those free throws, and I feel like we're going to make free throws most of the time in those situations. Tonight we didn't. But our defense was good enough to still win. And so we should be gaining confidence in the fact that we can win games in different ways. and I think our team is. Hopefully we make free throws down the stretch if we're in that position again. But to be able to win games that aren't necessarily offensively very artistic, I think that's beautiful too.
Steve, everyone talks about the importance of this game from a rivalry standpoint, but from the competition standpoint, knocking off a top 15 team now twice in the span of a week, it's kind of a big achievement for your guys as you go into conference play in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we've played a very difficult schedule. And, you know, if you look at our non-conference schedule in totality, it can be overwhelming. And so we've tried to focus on one day at a time, having a great practice, having great preparation, and we hope that if we stack enough days of those days up, we'll perform at a really high level. And our guys have become a really good practice team and preparation team, and that's got to stay the same regardless of the opponent. Our players and our staff have great respect for Wisconsin and their kids. It's a first-class program. They have high-character kids. And to be able to play in a game like this is a real honor. And our guys handled the game like this the way it should be handled. And for that, I feel lucky to be on their team today.
Coach, can you just talk about Sam Hauser's overall game and also the job that Joey has kind of done coming along here too?
Well, in my opinion, Sam's one of the most underappreciated players in the United States. Sam is all about winning. You know, like, what's a kid all about? 1, 2, 3. It's about winning. He's about winning, and he's about winning. And he's an absolute joy to coach. He was terrific tonight. I think he had his career high in rebounds. You know, at 13 points, at 4 assists and no turnovers, and is a stabilizing presence. His younger brother is really starting to find his footing, which is great. He made some huge plays for us in tonight's game, and we're going to need him to continue to evolve into a consistently really good player, which he certainly has the capability of doing. So both those guys were huge in this performance today.
Yeah, you talk about the improvements in defense, and people know Marcus as a shooter, but how much has he improved defensively, especially on the ball? He had to guard Trice a lot today, who's off to such a great start to the season. But what kind of strides has Marcus made defensively?
Well, you know, Homer asked me on the radio show, like, where has Marcus grown the most? And I think he anticipated me saying decision-making and driving to the basket, and he's gotten better in those two areas for sure. His biggest improvement has come at the defensive end. He's competing at a level that he hasn't on the defensive end. He's guarding at a level that he hasn't on the defensive end, and his intelligence defensively has been very good because he's doing both those things without fouling. And that's a huge growth in his game. And I think, in my opinion, the biggest growth he's made. And that's saying something because he's grown in other areas as well.
Coach, you mentioned the volume right when you walked in here. You just mentioned a few moments ago that your guys were exhausted. How much did they feed off of the energy from the crowd down the stretch and in OT? And second part of that question, have you ever heard a group of people be more excited about getting free shakes before?
Our fans were phenomenal. And this is the type of atmosphere every young player dreams of playing in. And our students really got the mojo going. I mean, our students were unbelievable. And their energy spread throughout the whole building. This was as good a college basketball atmosphere as there is. And this is what we hope to have on a consistent basis. It really helps our guys. It really helps our guys when the students show up and the fans show up like they did tonight. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate them doing that. In terms of shakes, shoot, I got about 50 other ideas of, like, you know, we want to hold them scoreless through the first 4 minutes. Who wants to give free stuff for that? You know, let's just keep giving free stuff so we do good things.
You mentioned what a handful Ethan Happ is in front. What a handful Ethan Happ is to defend. Is the blueprint to beating Wisconsin making everybody else beat you? And also, how much better do you feel like those other guys on Wisconsin are?
Really good. I mean, Wisconsin and Greg have done a great job because they've had an absolute gauntlet of a non-conference schedule. And I don't know if there's one key to beating them. Certainly Ethan Happ is going to be near the top. But it's very hard to take him out of the game. I think a kid who's improved, and maybe it's not fair to say improved because he was hurt last, Trice is a huge key. And if you track their wins, Happ has been consistently terrific. When they've been down or struggling, the guy who usually on the perimeter saves them is Trice. And so I don't know what he shot. He's 3 for 8. He was 1 for 6 from 3. That's as big a story as any in this game, is our defense on him, because that kid has played lights out basketball early in the season, and he's done it against just a whale of a schedule.
That's it. Thank you.